Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Sorry, I had to put something on my lips. I just decided to start. I see Nebulous in the chat. Welcome everybody, come through. I'm just going to let those notifications go out. How's everybody doing? We are live now. Go out. My hair is all crazy, y'all. It's always crazy. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Hit that like button, please, and thank you. How's everybody doing? It's been like a crazy day, wouldn't you say? Right? Hey, Cannibal Nixie, welcome. The 7. Shout out to BJ. BJ's like, I'm 7 in the chat. Yay! Shout out to BJ. Did y'all see? It's Hey, Dios mío, man. I was like, do I really want to go live today? Just kind of where my head was at. I was thinking about a bunch of things. So shout out to us. I wasn't sure if there was any even people going to be here today in this live, at least in this live. I know everybody's prepping for tomorrow, so tomorrow's going to be very interesting. Welcome everybody. Thank you. You said your hair looks great. Don't even sweat it. I know, but it's like always crazy. Yeah. Hey, Sean, how are you? Hey, Becky. Pinche back in the chat. Amanda, the only Angie before I go. Cannibal. Nixie, you get a nap with Baby Bunny. Is Psycho Barbie? What's a nap? I don't even know what that is anymore. Like, I stopped napping in college, I think. Yeah, I don't think I've taken naps here and there, but like clearly I'm really tired, but I really don't know what a nap is anymore. Um, when you have your children, it's like every once in a while, if you can just sneak one or two, it'd be great. But yeah, no. I know. Hey Didi, how are you? You said what time is the Diddy thing tomorrow? That's a great question. Anybody in the chat know? I want to say it's like is it at the same time? 3 Eastern? I don't know. What do y'all think? Hey, Shrinking Sharon. Hey, yeah, I think it's 3. Same time that I have to like leave and pick up the other child. Good. Lucky you, Cannibal. Lucky you. Hey, just a TP, please welcome Rita, Ada. How you doing? Cheeks, Alicia, Chris. How you doing? Thank you. Dee Dee's in the house. Who else? Rhiannon, Amanda in Alaska. Thank you for being here. Hey, Miyu, how are you, love? Erica, Jenny Gaitan, welcome. Everybody, BJ's in the house too. David Bruce, CD's in the house. Welcome, everybody. I'm just giving the people some time to get in here. I figured we just do a little like processing of everything that's been happening and everything that's been going on. Well, so earlier today, shout out to BJ. She provided us with those documents with regards to Diddy and the basically the bail package. I think that's what you would call it, right? Where they're going and making basically an argument as to why he should be eligible for bail. They went as far as to talk about how some processes, some inmates allow other inmates to take minutes from their phone or do three-way. It's not a thing, but it's allowed. Like if I'm an inmate and I have 15 minutes, I can give those 15 minutes to Morris, for example. Morris is the other inmate or something like that. Like we could share, right? Then there was the part where they said that the Cassie video was the 2016 CNN video that we've all talked about is highly edited. Okay. Now, some of you guys in my comments said, "Hey, Rabbit, you really need to look into the Diddy apology. I don't know if it's an apology video, apology, because he didn't apologize directly to Cassie, but I was like, I never, yeah, maybe we'll look into that and review it because what he says here, you're apologizing for a video that you're now saying was heavily edited. So is the video that CNN has different from what the court has? That's the part that I don't understand, y'all. I don't understand. You don't believe it? We're gonna watch it. I figure we could watch that and kind of see where everybody lands because it's been like it's really been 6 months since we've last watched it. Now, hold on. let me go back over here. This is the video. This is the infamous video where you're like, Diddy, your pupils, what's going on with your pupils, right? This is the video, okay?
It's so difficult to reflect on
Mm-hmm.
the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my.
Now, he says he takes full responsibility. So is the video from CNN a lie, or like, is it real? Which one is it? Now, is it Fi or Fei says, please read the legal documents from the Jane Doe in the picture. There's a lot of indiscrepancies in the lawsuit compared to her story. I do not think Misha is real lawsuit. Okay, here's the deal, y'all. I saw Misha is doing an interview currently. Or I wouldn't say it's an interview, maybe more of like a discussion with Natanya Rubens. Shout out to her. And let me just say that I'm going to talk about Misha here in a little bit. And I'm going to do it in the most respectful way because as I'm listening more Misha talk, I'm a little concerned about some other things that I don't know how I feel. It's not even about whether she's real or not. Hey, Sylvia, hey, can you guys do me a favor and drop some hearts for Sylvia too? She helped out on the Cash App. Thank you, love. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate your support. So, we'll talk about that. We'll review the lawsuit here and there. It just you're not lying, love. There's some indiscrepancies there, but I'm also mindful that I'm listening to Misha, and it sounds like she's been through some heavy stuff. I just don't know if she's a victim of Diddy. All right, and you guys know that I'm always gonna tell you what I think, even though you may not like me for it. But I'm gonna tell you what I think, and it's not coming from a place of hate. It's coming from a place of just authentically being concerned about something not making sense. You know what I mean? And the best part about, I think, my channel and other channels like BJ's and others is that we're allowed to ask questions. And if something doesn't make sense, we're allowed to say, like, hey, this don't make sense, or I'm a little confused about this, or like, yeah, that's I'm gonna say about that. All right. So we'll get into those legal documents, I promise. Okay. But listen, I wanted to review this video again because again, this is 6 months old. Okay. Diddy sends apology video. Now let me pull the transcript because some of you guys in the chat were like, Diddy is innocent. I said, innocent of what exactly? I'm not really sure, but sure, why not? So I said, wording is very important here when it comes to Diddy speaking, right? Because he's looking at the camera. Oh, I'm going to leave that transcript. And he says, it's so difficult to reflect on the darkest time in your life. Sometimes you got to that I was blank up to, I hit rock bottom. So at some point, he's giving us this speech about hitting rock bottom, but his eyes look just so weird to me. Let me hit play.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up.
That's what he says.
I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.
In that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility. What video could he be talking about? He's talking about the CNN video. Now, the question is the video that Agnifilo is making in the arguments, is that different from the video that we were shown on CNN? You think he's lying? What do y'all think? What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know. KCG says, I'm in the bushes sitting on my hands. I'm trying not to be cynical about how celebrities seem to get away with everything. KCG, be cynical. You are permitted to be cynical in the chat. I mean, hell, I'm cynical all the time. Welcome. Cynicism is welcome. Shout out to you. And don't feel like you have to put stuff away. Okay. Hey Poe, how are you? Apologies and payout. Okay. So here he is. He's like really you know, he's really feeling some type of way about this, right? Says, I'm sorry, it's unexcusable, my behavior, and I take full responsibility for my actions. Let's keep going, okay?
I take full responsibility for my
Yes, he
actions
does.
in that video.
Mm-hmm.
I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
I was disgusted then when I did it. Okay. Now, going back to what Agnifilo was arguing and his legal team were arguing in those paperworks, right? They said that this video has been highly edited. I don't want to put words in his mouth. And again, shout out to BJ. Let's look at that, precisely that spot right there, okay, where it says what it says, because I'm trying to understand. This is the same man that purchased the video. My understanding is that this video was purchased from Intercontinental Hotel, right? It was purchased from them. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Is it here? Yes, it is. Okay. The motion that they provided, it says, nearly 2 months later, much has changed. Okay, yada, 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 yada. All right, here it is. So the government possesses confirming his account, March 5th, 2016 incident at an Intercontinental Hotel. But instead of presenting that video to the court, the government submitted an altered video that omitted key scenes, presented events out of order. Okay? So they're not denying the existence of a video. He's not saying, hey, the video doesn't exist. Matter of fact, Diddy bought the video from Intercontinental. My understanding of the Cassie lawsuit, I think it was purchased for like $55,000, if I remember correctly. Something to that effect, right? For instance, we now know that even before it arrested Mr. Combs, the government possessed a blank confirming his account on March 5th, a 2016 incident at the Intercontinental Hotel. All right. But instead of presenting that video to the court, which video? This video? Another video? What video? The government submitted an altered video that omitted key scenes and presented things out of order. What do y'all think? Because here Diddy is acknowledging that he apologizes for his behavior on that video and he's disgusted. Is that video any different than what the court has or what we've seen? Which one is it? My understanding is that it's this video, this CNN video, that is currently basically evidence against Diddy, right? Yeah, Kat, you're right. Diddy paid to get rid of this video. You are so right. He paid for that hotel, right? He paid them. I'm not making that up, right? We know this. So what do y'all think as we're kind of putting things together? But let me go ahead and keep playing the talented Mr. Diddy, okay?
I went and I sought out professional help.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day.
In this here, he doesn't apologize to Cassie. This is why he got a lot of backlash from people. People said you're not apologizing to Cassie, who is the victim in this video, right? So he's apologizing, at least the way I interpreted is because he got caught, right? You said, hold up, Kissamooch. You said, I think Diddy's team is putting 20 on 10. It's a distraction from the legal pad, right? He says a lot of nothing. He's twisting this up so bad, he's getting himself caught up. Well, this right here, right, was released shortly after the Cassie video. This was an IG. I remember, I think myself and another channel, we broke this video. We said, oh my God, y'all, Diddy did a video after the video with Cassie dropped. Diddy did a video. Okay. And when I'm hearing him say, not once did he mentions Cassie, not once did he says, I'm sorry about, doing this to Cassie. I'm sorry. Nothing. He doesn't even give her a name. But this is the video. Unless there's a different video, I would assume, based on the court documents, they're saying that the video that they have is altered, that the video that they have has been altered, right? The government submitted an altered video that omitted key scenes and that presented things out of order. And it's not saying that CNN did this, the government did this. That's what they're saying. Okay? You guys, so yeah, there's this. And I was thinking, I said, slowing this down a little bit and understanding the different parts of this, I mean, I think it's important, right? What do you guys make of this video? We were talking about earlier today, like, is the video with Cassie being, assaulted and beat, right? Is that a example of S trafficking? No. But it's definitely an example of a woman that was trying to leave a situation and a man that wouldn't let her go. And one thing, we read this and I was reacting to it with you guys. There was a part in this document where I was really appalled by how they tried to spin this, that he wasn't throwing a vase at her. He was throwing flowers at her. See if I can find it. Flowers. Here it is. Sorry, y'all. Yep. This part. The more complete footage of the incident, in contrast to the government's sensationalized CNN cut, contradicts the government's representation. The video demonstrates that Mr. Combs, in fact, ran down the hall to retrieve a bag of clothes and a cell phone. Cassie was leaving that room from that hallway. She couldn't even put her shoes on fast enough. She had a bag on her person and she was leaving. The video demonstrates Mr. Combs, in fact, ran down the hallway to retrieve a bag of clothes and a cell phone. He did not drag victim one back down the hall to the room. She goes to the elevator and he assaults her and then basically throws her. She's on the floor and then she gets dragged. I'm sorry, y'all. This is playing in my mind, like vividly. This is that, like, turning around the narrative. You know what I mean? This is what the defense is alleging. I don't know. I don't know if they're helping per se. Okay. You said it was a glass vase. The what is it? The defense is saying there were flowers that he was throwing. I'm like, yeah, because that's what you do when you're mad. You're gonna throw flowers. Okay, whatever. Yeah, dragged her by her hair. I feel like we're being gaslit internationally at this point. So it's interesting to me, but I'm just reading y'all what the defense is saying. And I mean, if you're defending Diddy, you're gonna say things like this to defend Diddy, period. That's what he's gonna do, right? That's what they're gonna do. Okay. The video demonstrates that Mr. Combs, in fact, ran down the hall to retrieve a bag of clothes and a cell phone. He did not drag victim one back down the hall to the room, as the government and its resequence exhibit falsely suggests. He did not throw a vase at victim one, but only its contents. He didn't throw a vase, just what was inside the vase, presumably flowers. She was not only able to leave once security staff intervened. Okay. What did those security staff do? Did they sit there and, kind of looked away and acted like nothing was going on? In other words, it is the government's who it is the government whose explanation is just another cover-up, just more lies. The true fact corroborates what Mr. Combs has stated all along. The video is not evidence of a coerced freak off and sex trafficking, but rather a sad glimpse into a decades-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and victim one. Notice how they don't say, even they're not even putting in here that this is a domestic violence situation. They're not even calling it a DV situation, because if you see something like that happening in a hallway, uh, a man running down the hallway with nothing but a towel, he basically purchased the hallway and the floor of that hotel room so he can literally run out and do whatever the hell he wants. He can walk out of there without any underwear if he wanted to. But he's running, he sees Cassie and he's running out there. I would never assume that she was leaving a freak off. I don't know what was happening before she left that room where she was clearly with Diddy. I don't know what happened. But what I would assume and I would say is that she was leaving a situation that she was scared of. So much so that she grabbed what she could, but she couldn't get her shoes on fast enough to get out of that hallway to get to that elevator. And then you see a man running down with a fucking, it didn't even look like a full-on body towel. It looked like one of those hand towels. He had a little hand towel right over here running down the hallway coming after Cassie. Right, Rita. And notice, but they're not putting that in the document. Notice here that it said the video is not evidence of a coerced freak off. We don't know what happened in the room. There could have been something in there. He could have said to her, "Hey, I will beat your ass, or I will do something to you if you don't engage in this freak off, or if you don't do X, Y, and Z with this other person, or if you don't do something to yourself." That's, we don't know. And there's no sound in the video. So we clearly don't even know what is going down when this is going down, right? Okay. But regardless, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Now, the sex trafficking part, I think, comes into play is, was there traveling happening? We don't know. We don't know the arrangements. But one thing they won't even put in here, this is what he'll say, and this is Agnifilo. I got it, man. You got to defend the worst of the worst. You got to defend the worst of the worst. But this is what he puts. He says, but rather a sad glimpse into a decade-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and victim one. Consensual relationship. Okay. But he beat her. He beat her, and we saw that. He won't even put that in the documents. I mean, he's not going to put a crime on his client. Even that's what I was like, yo. Yes. So he was literally running in a towel, full force, running down to get her. I've seen a situation very similar. And many, many years ago, I had a neighbor, okay, and police had to be called. The man was like crazy out of his mind, butt naked, hurting his wife in the middle of the street. Okay, not giving a world or care about what he was doing to her, who was watching, whether he had pants on. He didn't give a shit. He just did it. So that's an example of that, right? That there is something really clearly wrong. And then here you have Agnifilo and team and Janice Combs, for that matter, excusing this bullshit, because in her letter to the people, she even said, "Yeah, you guys, that this was a relationship, ma'am. What are you doing?" Okay, it was a relationship. All right, whatever. Whatever. So I wanted to review that. And so, I mean, clearly there's a lot of stuff happening and we're just kind of reviewing things as we go. You know what I mean? Yes. Kat, it's been said. It's been said. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And Jill, thank you again for gifting. Look at Jill. Put some hearts in the chat, guys. If somebody got gifted. I'm trying to see if I can see it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoever got gifted, which I believe is it Because I Can? Shout out to Because I Can, who was gifted a membership from Jill. Did y'all hit the like button? Please and thank you. All right. Let's talk about another matter. And I'm actually working on a pre-recorded video that's going to break this down a little bit more, okay? And I want to be very careful about, we talked a little bit about Misha yesterday. And Misha is doing interviews right now. Shout out to Misha. She's telling at least her version of events that she feels like happened to her. I'm a little concerned about Misha for, oh my god, a lot of reasons. because I do feel like this is somebody that, clearly she's been through something. I just don't know if it's logically, all right, if it's what she said she is, okay? Let me break it down, okay? And I got some notes. And also, shout out to, if Ahmad can drop Danny Robertson's channel, please, and thank you. Danny Robertson, I pre recorded some videos. I pre-recorded some videos, and I'm actually working on editing them. But Danny Robertson was working on this timeline, and she actually shared it with me that I thought would be very important to talk about. Okay. Yep. Thank you, Rando girl. The relationship doesn't mean it wasn't illegal. It doesn't mean it wasn't an illegal attack on the woman to prevent her from leaving when she chose to exit. That's right, Rando girl. Say that louder, please. Just saying. Okay. Yes, logically it works. Separate examples were used, but she was there for years, I believe, says Kissamuch. All right. I am not let me so I went to go listen a little bit. Shout out to Natalia Rubens. I heard the interview a little bit that they were having a good conversation. I really like, people lifting each other up. Clearly, Misha needs people to help her. She's going through a lot of stuff. That's what it sounds like. I have a lot of empathy for her. At the same time, going back to the video with Lionel and Lionel B, and I really hope that if there is a part 2 to this, that there is some clarity to this, because there are some moving parts um that I'm trying to understand and I can't really follow, okay? And if you guys permit me, listen to me, all right? Would you be willing to hear the concerns that I have? Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Would y'all be willing to hear it? Am I the only one who has a little bit of concerns? Is it okay for me to have concerns? I think so. I think I'm allowed to have having worked with victims before, I I feel like we need to be open to say, okay, Billy Joe, thank you, thank you, Kissamooch. All right, this isn't about whether you believing or not believing. You guys are grown adults here. Use your own discernment, okay, when it comes to this. Thank you, thank you. Yes, you'd love to hear my thought. All right, well, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, thank you. So there was a lady in the chat here who said, "Can you please read the court docs?" I have the court docs present. We can look into that. All right. But what we have is a timeline of events. Now, the thing about Misha, the interview overall, I think was, I got the, let me see, I think it was a good 32 minutes of an interview, right? And one of the difficulties that I had, okay, and I'm looking at this as like trying to establish a time frame of events, right? So she claims that she met Diddy in the 6th grade. She was about 10 or 11 years old. And then she also says that she lost her innocence, her virginity around that time. Okay. So she puts that out there. However, later at about the 30-minute mark, she says that she was 13 when photos of her were taken. At about the 1 minute and 58-minute mark, she suggests significant interactions with Diddy occurred before that. The timeline for her abuse is inconsistent. If you just look at the time frame of the things. Now, could that be because there's just so much going on? Yeah, very likely so. There could be so many things going on. You got trauma that's at play. You have so many things that are happening. Okay. Sometimes when people go through trauma and you're a victim, expect inconsistencies. But I think with her specifically is the series of events, the sequence of events changes from one to the next, and it's so hard to track, right? And that is a sign of somebody that's really struggling with trying to make an outline with herself. You said there were inconsistencies as to who was there or who was not there at the parties. Um, she doesn't, let me tell you, when I pull the transcript, she's not even talking about parties per se. She's talking about being taken on a jet, not knowing what a jet was, being taken to a jet, being taken somewhere. She talked about the fact that she has It was through a classmate. Her father's a music producer who then introduced her to Clive Davis, and she was running on composition books. She was writing a lot of music, right? She became a ghostwriter, and mind you, the age doesn't change right there. She remembers that at this time frame, she was being a ghostwriter. Okay. So she she jumps a little bit to then say, well, grandma didn't know everything was going on, but she was being paid money. So then grandma did know about it at some point. So there's some parts right here that don't make sense to me. Now, Clive Davis, yes. You think Clive Davis, you think Diddy, right? Who is it? Andre Harrell. These names, when you mention these names, often a person will mention them, like in the same story. But it's really weird how a lot of this just doesn't jive consistently, okay? And I think that that's something that we have to kind of acknowledge. Now, she then says that she mentions being put on a private jet, yet describes being a child unsure of what a jet was at the time. There's no explanation of how this all logically fits, okay, into the broader narrative, especially since she claimed that her grandmother refused permission. At some point, she says that grandma refused to give her permission, but she winds up in a jet. Now, she also later on says that her grandmother never reported her missing. There was no police report, but yet there was a report. And then at some point, she had an object inserted in her, and she had to have medical surgery to fix that. Now, as a child, you can't consent to surgery. Like, they can't just give you surgery just like that. You have to actually have a signature or something to that effect. How does that happen? I'm not really sure how all of that jives. If she says that her grandmother didn't know, but then knew, but didn't know. So just keep that in mind when you start. And I had to listen to it a couple times, and I have the timestamps. Okay. Oh, hey DJ, how are you? So I'm just thinking out loud of different things that she has said. Now, she says, she says that she mentions seeing what looks to be an Arabian lady. One thing about Misha that she plays a lot in what she thinks people look like. And then she puts in here like Arabian lady, or what is it? A white elite guy. Like, she tends to put white guys as elite. And this is all mentioned through her interview. Now, I'm not saying that there's not white guys that are elites, but there's also like Jay-Z, I consider to be part of the elite, right? And he's not white. So just kind of keeping in mind, like, okay, so there's something to be said about, she's correlating somebody who is white to being elite. I think we have to be kind of mindful of that. She mentions an assault from Bill Cosby as well, right? So she says Bill Cosby was smoking a cigarette or something, and then basically assaulted her with a lit cigarette in her area. Okay. She never came out with the women that came out. So that never got reported, but apparently this is what she is saying. Okay. Okay. So I'm just letting y'all know. So even the Bill Cosby part, it was very hard for me to understand how that's connected to the broader situation that's happening. I'm sure Bill Cosby and Diddy and Chris Jenner and Jill, I'm sure they've all hung out at some point. But how are they all meshing together? I think that that's the piece that I'm not understanding. And then she describes the cage being locked in with 30 to 50 children or 50 kids, many whom appear that they were hunted. So she says, and it looked like there were very young kids that were hunted, but she doesn't give more details to this. Like, what does that mean? What does it mean to be hunted? Like, trafficked? Like, these are the missing kids, or these are a bunch of kids? What exactly? And that's the piece that really lacks the details. Now, let's see. There's a part where she talks about the eating the jelly beans, and that they tasted really nasty. And then it was after eating the jelly beans that it sounds like she might have gone in and out of consciousness. Um, but yet there was still a willingness for her to engage with some of these individuals, and her memory is very foggy throughout this situation. She describes she describes, and she says it, in my child mind, she had escaped from Africa to America, and was writing her police reports, and it was based on what she was in her child mind thinking. So it raises a lot of questions about her recollection, her memory, and what she is vividly living through. Do I believe that a lot of this is very vivid for her, but I just don't know if it's factual, if that makes sense. Is it vivid for her? Yeah, but is it a Diddy situation? I don't know if that's what we have. And I think the biggest red flag for me was, honestly, was when she mentioned the lawsuit. Had she not mentioned the lawsuit, y'all, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Um, yeah, she had to have that pink DD. She was great, and she didn't know it was inside her still. Right, Kim? And then she said, but that's the part that she had to go get it removed, right? Who signed for her to get that done? Who like, I'm just thinking in my mind that would involve adults one way or another. You said to me that's why the question is dropped. Why? That's why, to me, that question is why she was dropped. Well, was she dropped, Kiss and Booch? Have we confirmed? All right, so let's go to the lawsuit real quick. Because that was the thing that we were kind of harping on yesterday. Say, wait a minute, y'all, this lawsuit, this lawsuit. And I'll say me, I was harping on yesterday. Okay. Let me tell you guys what I'm talking about. This one right here. Has she been dropped? Do we know that she's been? How do we know? Is this? Oh, I don't know why the balloons are going up. Um, do we know that she's been dropped? Has it been confirmed? We don't know, but she said tonight that she doesn't have a lawyer. It's not the same case. Queen, you said it's not the same case. This is the case. Okay, so going back, Misha said she's this girl, the DNG girl. Now, the ladies with the sushi, with the food on them, that were, what is it, the human buffet thing that Diddy had those parties? Are those victims? Because we don't know that. When when TMZ put those pictures up there, they never said they were victims. They said that that was a Diddy party. You guys can pull up those pictures. And it says it was at a Diddy party. Now, here's my question. If this is Misha, why is her face blurred in the Lion LB interview? You said she was dropped? Kim, but do we know that she was dropped? Like, do we have any confirmation? You said, no, that is another Jane Doe. I'm so confused. But she said that this was her. Her, and then the Andrea English was dropped. When was this Jane? When was Misha dropped? Who's got some explaining to do? Y'all got to explain it to me. Like, help me understand. You said my dad's friend hired some women in the 90s. Yeah, like it's like a party thing. Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but you know what I'm saying? Then why does Lionel B have the pictures up? That's the question that I have. I'm so confused. Okay, look at Rick Pat says girl with sushi is the original 14-year-old from the first Busby lawsuit as a Jane Doe. No, because I read the Busby lawsuits and there was never a girl with sushi, y'all. None of the pictures with the sushi have been shown on the Busby lawsuits. My money's on that. I've read every Busby lawsuit, even the ones that just dropped this week. There's no way. The women with the sushi, those women, there's no lawsuit with those women, y'all. You okay? See, Kim, that would make sense, right? Like he put in those pictures to fill it in. I got you. I got you. Got you. Got you. Um, you said I think there's circumstances that they don't need a signature. They aren't going to just leave it in there. Are you talking about when she was saying that? No, you're right. Yeah, an emergency basis, there are circumstances where they don't need somebody's signature, something like that, definitely. But I'm wondering, like, typically this would have involved an adult being involved too. You know what I mean? She is the girl on the table in the last picture shown. None of those other pictures applied to her. It said in the interview. I'm so confused, y'all. Queen says, when you say them not her in the picture, you talk about that's not Misha in the pictures. Well, Pascal reviewed the interview. I don't know, Queen. I don't know. I don't know why he would have those pictures. Why? It's the same thing as to why would you say, because somebody said in my comments that Ali Carter said she was one of the women in the table. Something's not making sense, you guys. What about surgery, Pinche Becky? Because she said it was like a thing that they put something in her. You know what I mean? What about surgery? Carmen, thank you for the $10. Says, I don't think this is the Jane Doe because I thought Diddy wanted his victims' names revealed. But the plaintiff's lawyer said that it should not be revealed because someone is influential. So this is my understanding of it, all right? Um, this is my understanding of how this works, okay? I don't think this is the Jane Doe because I thought Diddy wanted his victim's name revealed. Well, he could want those revealed, doesn't mean it's going to happen. They have to go to court. There was, I think, two victims that if they didn't do something about their name, that they would have been revealed. But that's in the civil matter, and I think that that's outside of Diddy. That's more of a court thing, if that makes sense. But thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. You said, hold up. You said Angelique, shout out to Angelique, said, I was watching her on Dopener. Yeah, I was watching the interview. She reveals she doesn't have a lawyer. She said that on Lionel as well. So was this her lawyer at some point then? And like I said, I just have a lot of questions. You guys are entitled to your opinions. I just have a lot of questions about it. Um, but at the same time, I'm wondering about what's the word? I'm just wondering about just the overall how we're putting things together. My concern is this, and you guys are not going to like me say this, but I'm going to say it, okay? Mm. I hope that that's not the case here. I hope it's not the case that because you have somebody that's a Jane Doe in an actual lawsuit, somebody comes and says, I'm a Jane Doe too. I'm that Jane Doe that people are talking about. That Jane Doe right there, that's me. That one, that's me. I hope that that's not the case. I hope that we're not seeing situations where people that have been victimized are now saying, I'm that Jane Doe. I'm worried about that because to me, that takes the voice of the actual Jane Doe. And like I said, I heard and she's been through a lot and I can hear it in her voice, but I'm a little concerned about how this is being driven, if that makes sense. I remember Rabbit, she was upset because everyone, hold up. Everyone was talking about her telling her story using those pictures, I think. But Kim, these pictures right here, but you're saying this is not her? Are we now saying, is she saying this is not her? That's the picture that Lionel sent. Now, hold up. I got the transcript. I'm not making this up. Hold up. You know I'm gonna pull the transcript. You guys know, pull the transcript. Hold up. Let's see. Lord have mercy. Here we go. Hold up. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I have a little transcript. Let's see. Recent. Untitled document. Yep, I started this at 9 in the morning. He says, knees. Is it knees? Here it is. Okay. Right around the 49-second mark, she says, this is the intro from Lionel B. Here, who put my pictures out here? This is when it cuts and she says, who put my pictures out here? She's saying in the interview. And then Lionel starts, now, peeps, I sat down for the most exclusive interview of 2024. We've seen her pictures all over the internet with multiple celebrities eating food off of her body when she was just a pre. We've seen her sitting in Diddy's lap in the studio when she was even younger. Now, here's her story. This is what is being said. Right there, y'all. Let me highlight it. This is what was being said. So this doesn't, it just doesn't jive, y'all. It doesn't. But that's kind of where I'm seeing. You said Rita, the girl, really? Rita, what? I don't know about that. I mean, you said she's white? Maybe like light skin, but I don't know. I don't know. You said she says she saw Talia and Roger Bond was there, but he wasn't with Diddy, P Tang. Tinkle Tits, shout out to Tinkle Tits in the chat. Hopefully that is not happening. And this woman who says, well, I'll tell you what I'm feeling, but I'm gonna be very careful, with what I say. And I feel like, yeah, Angelina, she's upset, but she's the one that gave those pictures to the lawyer for the lawsuit. And the lawsuit is public information, so that's the piece that I don't understand. Like, is she upset about that? Now, the pictures are blurred. Anybody could, like, that's the piece that kind of personally I struggle with, because I could say that's me on the picture. Well, you know, I could say that's me, but it's not me. You know what I mean? And that's the piece, is because we have a lot of Jane Does in lawsuits. What if we have a situation where someone who claims to be one of the Jane Does in the lawsuit is not really that Jane Doe? And my hope that that's not the case, you guys, because honestly, like, I don't want that to be the case, but I do think that, we have to have discernment with things like that. Oh my God, is this Miss Roxy Lady Lounge? Shout out to you. I haven't seen you in a minute. I would love to hear what you have to say about this. I would love to hear what you have to say about this, because thank you. Okay, Roxanne, do you want to hit the link for me? Cuz I'm up to you. I know you got some stuff going on here and stuff like that. I'm sure people have been saying stuff and stuff, but I'm sure this woman right here that Roxy's talking about, she's from Canada, y'all. This woman is Canadian. Jane Doe is a citizen of Canada. Okay? She's Canadian. I dropped a link for you, Roxanne, if you want to hit it. Completely up to you. I got a couple minutes. Um, you said that the girl on the table is darker than the girl on his lap. That's what I'm saying, but who am I to judge? I'm like, I got, my skin is different, You said she's upset because the pictures are public and she doesn't have an attorney to represent her. I think she's feeling exploited. But Steeler Princess, when did the attorney stop representing her? Do we know? You know what? I'm gonna call that office. I think I could call. I mean, they're not gonna tell me if they represent her. But matter of fact, why don't we just check the court doc? That's what we can do from this case specifically. Hell, like, why am I even playing around? Hold up, y'all. I mean, that's an easy find. We can find out if this case doesn't have if there's no attorney involved in this case. We can find out. That should be easy for us, because we can find out on the Pacer doc. You said they didn't represent her because she couldn't be clear on her dates, because she lied, because they groomed her to lie about her age. Kim, but so let me ask you a question. Is this Jane Doe? Is this Misha? Let me know. I thought she was I thought she was one of the victims English dropped. No. You guys are thinking about Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Ariel Mitchell Kidd was the one that is the one that dropped Adria English. Gotcha. Okay, Kim. So, all right. So, to me, that would make more sense. So, that tells me that she is not the woman in this picture. She cannot be this woman. She is not this Jane Doe. Thank you, Kim. Because that's what I'm trying to understand. Yes, that would have been public information. That's what I'm saying. So let me see if I can pull Pacer up real quick. I mean, I'll tell you right now, since I have the case number here. Hold up. We could just go. If but Kim is saying that this is not her, right? If I'm hearing this correctly. Party search, case search. 123, and this was filed in December, if I remember correctly. Hold up, that should be easy to find. Case search. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, guys. It is me thinking out loud. Now, this was filed. Is it in the New York district? Yeah, Southern District of New York. Thank God I got my Pacer organized. Southern District of New York. Southern District of New York. Here we go. I got it organized by courts. Here it is. And this is 10/6/28. 10. How come I can't find it? 10/6/28. Let's go to number 4. 10/6/28. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. Let's find out. Let's go to docket report, the most recent, and let's run that report right now. Okay. Here it is. So the last filing was a motion to withdraw as attorney, and this was in October of 2025. Now hold up. Before that, it was a notice to appear motion. I'm trying to see what I can find from here. Documents stricken. I mean, this is just a lot of stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find what I need here. This has been ongoing since December 6th of 2023. Okay. And then there was a filing error on it. But I mean, it's still going. They're changing attorneys, but that's about it. It says motion to withdraw as attorney, application granted. Let's see. Daddy's house recording, notice of appearance. This was on the 24th of October. Hold up, y'all. Sorry, I'm not ignoring you. Let's see. Document. Motion for a judgment. Okay, stricken. Document 64 has been stricken for the case record. The document was stricken from this case, but it's a letter. Let's see. Document filed by Jane Doe. Here we go. And this was September of 20. Oh, the document's not available. Like, all of this is sealed. I can't even get into it, you guys. Thank you, Tico Tits. I mean, I can get into it, but I have to get, pull information and stuff like that. It's taking me a minute, and I don't want to do it all here. Tico Tits, thank you for the 1999 for the Pacer funds. Shout out to you. You think it's different? I mean, unless, I know I'm trying not to ignore you guys, but like, Pacer is no joke. Pacer is no joke. Hold up, but thank you, Tinkle Tits and Sylvia and everybody. You said the photo wasn't blurred a few weeks ago. Everyone is being played. Richie Dupe, the photo was always blurred. Which photo are you talking about? All the women in the table was, I remember, because I probably have videos of me showing those photos. They were blurred, and so was this lawsuit. The photo was always blurred. Said YouTube is not letting me say what I want. Even in a super chat, I swear the powers that be filtered me. Shout out to beautiful Missy Ball. She was very convincing. I can't explain it. She's the realest one I've seen. I'd really like that body language guy to break it down for the interview, you know? Yeah. I mean, like I said, you guys believe what you want to believe. I'm trying to pull as my and I'll probably keep pulling. I'm not gonna give this up. I'm gonna look into it a little bit more. Um, I thought she was trafficked from Detroit to New York. I mean, I don't know. If she doesn't have representation, the suit would be withdrawn, I think. Right. Is it withdrawn now? They didn't represent her because she couldn't be clear on the dates. Oh, I read that. Shout out to Kim. They didn't represent her because of the age discrepancies. You said I'm getting oh, shout out to you, Roxanne. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Yeah, it's a different person. Comment. Would she be the one what would she be one of the ones that Ariel fired? No. Ariel is the only one that Ariel got rid of or removed was Audria English. Now, this is what's very interesting. Some of you guys said this too in my chat that Audria was repeating the same story that Misha is telling. So I don't know if Audria and Misha were talking and then Misha does the interview with Lionel B and then all of this drops. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um you said this is not Misha's case. Misha's was kidnapped. Seems like the Fed have no viable evidence. Otherwise, more would have been arrested. Looks more and more each day. Diddler has been set up. Richie, you think Diddler has been? The Diddy was set up? Okay. The Addy would have petitioned the court to drop her. The question is, when did that happen? Did they close the case? I gotta look into it. I just don't have the time to do it right now, but I'm able to pull it. She said no one would take her case because she initially lied. You said Audria English was talking about her using these photos of the original girl, the DNG, while she was talking about Misha. Yeah. I think this is just my opinion, y'all. My opinion. I think that the woman with the DNG shirt is different from the woman at the at the buffet table. I don't think it's the same person. There's no way. Even time frame wise, if you are to believe what she is saying, like even if she says I think what really was the biggest red flag for me is when she said just by saying that she was the DNG woman was enough for me to say this is so confusing. This can't be her and the women at the table. It wouldn't make sense. Even age wise wouldn't even make sense. But that's just my thought. You said you're not going to be a viable witness if you're shouting mouthing off on social media. Okay. You said she would have been a minor, so yeah, I mean, she would have been a minor. She said, I believe the lady with the DNG shirt isn't the same young lady who's doing interviews. I agree with you, Roxy. Um, in my opinion, I don't think they're the same people. I think that Misha is somebody who is really struggling. And it's not that I just personally I don't think she's the DNG woman, and I don't believe that the DNG woman is the same woman that's in the buffet. It just doesn't jive for me. But if it's not her case, like Kim is saying, this is not her case, that is a different Jane Doe Lionel used, and everybody assumes she was one of the Jane Does because he said it and wrote it in the thumbnail. So he was doing clickbait. I think that's what Queen was saying. But now, come on, like, why do all that? That's a lot of clickbait to get us to, like, why? Yeah, in my opinion, Detroit Jane Doe is different. Trauma is awful, and I'm not denying Misha's a victim. She could definitely be a victim. I agree with you on that. I just don't know how I feel about something don't sound right. Yeah, Becky, don't they all have similar stories? It might just be two different girls with similar stories. That's the thing. It's like, and I'm glad you guys are saying this because let me tell you what's happening. There are you're right. There are many victims, but let me tell you what's happening between all the lawsuits. Okay, I feel like I read so many lawsuits that at this point we all have a pattern of behavior. At this point, right? Sometimes victims in this Diddy stuff, they are aspiring artists, models. Okay, and they're in some cases they are invited to a party through an associate, never Diddy directly. That's what I'm noticing. Or a handler, like somebody else is handling them and, passing down their information, inviting them to like an after party, right? Okay. And then they are given a drink, and we look at the picture of the little vial, right? That little vial thing, whatever that, and we're sitting there like, whoa, like they believe that they were given GHB or a substance like GHB. They lose consciousness, and then clearly they have memory lapses in between when activity is taking place. Like they see things, but they are powerless to fight back. These are patterns that we have seen time and time again, where then you put them together and it's like, okay, they're able to escape the situation, sometimes not fully clothed, and they're sometimes they report to the police, sometimes they don't, sometimes they wait. There are some John Does and Jane Does that I really believe everything that's being put in there, and there are some that I have to scale back and I say, I don't know about this one quite yet. There something is off in the sequence of events. Look at the sequence of events when you're trying to put things together when it comes to trauma, because sometimes um, you want to make sure that you're not taking on somebody else's trauma and that it's your own. And people talk in this industry and people talk overall. And so it's very easy to take something on. So Misha did say something. Misha did say tonight she was working with the feds. Oh, Misha's working with the feds. So she is how is she working with the feds, did she say? Like I'm kind of wondering. I'll definitely Kim, I'll watch Pascal shows. So it was clickbait? Sorry y'all, I'm catching up with the comments. You said, to be fair, she did not call herself Jane Doe. Lionel did. Well, there you go. Ali Carter claims to have been part of every conspiracy theory. She's mentally ill and being used, says Richie. And there are some people in my chat that do not. There's some that really support everything that Ali Carter has put up there, and there's some that don't. There's some that believe everything that Jaguar Wright says. There's some that don't. There's some that believe that Audrea English, some of the things that she says, and some that don't. Is the same with Courtney Burgess and Chris Toad and all these people. And what I'm saying to you guys is, there are some folks that have not spoken out that are Jane Does. We just need to make sure that they are the ones, that those are the Jane Does and not somebody else taking over a Jane Doe, if you know what I mean. It's my only concern with that. Okay. You know what, Billy Joe, you are so right. Everything's gonna come out in the wash, everything will definitely come out in the wash, because I think where we're at right now is all of this will get settled in court. Now, if she wants a lawyer, maybe I heard that they're trying to get her one to see if one will take it. I'm just wondering. Let me see what y'all are saying. Okay. You say now she's going from channel to channel getting cash app donos. She's a scammer. Tati, really? Is that what you think? Say more, Tati. Tell me what you really think. Like I said, y'all are entitled to your opinion. I'm not blocking it. I just want to know what y'all think. Let me know. Could be more than one photo. Maybe that's why it's confusing. Okay, hold up. What upsets me is she's going to have another interview again with him and she needs therapy. Bingo. She's very triggered and she doesn't need to be relieving this trauma. Well, not publicly at least, right, Kim? Like I agree with you. Not publicly. What you asking Chloe? Sorry, I missed your comment. What about all the children? Well, she just needs to be careful. Beautiful Messi Ball is like, listen, I got a headache. Y'all make me think too much. I'm out of here. Realize she is hurting the real Jane Doe's case. If she is not a Jane Doe, you are absolutely right. And I've said this from the jump. I said, we need to be careful. Now, this is a good point. Is Misha the scammer or like what? Because is she asking for donations? Like we need to be careful with that too. You know what I mean? I hear what you're saying with that. Jill, thank you for the $3. Thank you. Shout out to you, love. I support all the alleged victims, but let me tell you, as a victim, people and Bean Chebeki said it perfectly yesterday, is that when people come forward with these allegations, there's an expectation that people are going to review your story and put things together. and try to understand your story a little bit more. It comes with that, and unfortunately, it's unfortunate sometimes because some people take it too far. But yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, that's how I see it. Let's see. The water, muddy the waters. Sister Soul says muddy the waters. Yo, y'all know how I feel. How do you feel, Rabbit, about the copyright threat in the beginning of Lionel's video? I think it's bullshit. I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with Lionel. I don't, um, I think it's bullshit. It's bullshit, and clearly not everyone's gonna get a copyright if Pascal was using it. But anyways, guys, I'm having to let you guys go because I gotta go tend to baby bunny. What do y'all think in the comments? You believe so? We'll see. Like I said, you guys are entitled to your opinion. There's nothing wrong with it. You believe her, don't believe her. As long as you guys are respectful, um, that'd be awesome. He gave Pascal special permission. We'll see. They're friends, They're friends. Y'all are entitled to your have I ever considered doing a call-in show? I have done before, but I'm always like in an hour and so busy, so I don't always have the time. But I might do one next time. We'll see. All right, I will see you guys on the next one. I gotta head out, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. All right, and we will see kind of where we go from here. Okay, y'all are amazing, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.